In certain places in Guizhou province of China, you'll see women wearing a special style of dress and unique hair bands. They're not ethnic minorities, but a special group of Han Chinese who are descendants of the 300,000 soldiers and their families deployed to Guizhou province at the end of the 14th century. Enclosed living environment and lack of exchange with local people incubated unique customs and culture among these people. In today's video, I'll take you to one of their villages and tell you the stories behind this group of people.
Hello, I'm Yan. Today I'm at a garrison-turned village in Anshun, Guizhou province. This place will take us back to the China in Yangtze River Delta 600 years ago. Let's go take a look. Although it's located in the mountains of southwest China, the village has a Yangtze River style with a mini river and many mini bridges across the mini river.
Actually, river is not the correct word. It's just a narrow canal that was dug in the village and it's dry in many sections. Villagers try to simulate their ancestral home in the Yangtze River Delta, while bridges, houses, markets all built around a network of rivers. If you ask the villagers, they'll proudly tell you that their ancestors were from Nanjing, the capital city of China, between late 14th century to early 15th century. In early Ming dynasty, the Ming emperor sent troops of 300,000 from the capital to Yunnan province to suppress the rebellions there. The troops were then ordered to station in the adjacent Guizhou province permanently. Military bases were built along this red line to open up a secure path to Yunnan. The relatives of those soldiers were also sent to Guizhou. It's hard to imagine the feeling of those who had to leave home in the rich and pleasant Yangtze River Delta for remote mountainous regions. For them, Guizhou was not only far away, but also a whole new world. The populace was mainly indigenous people. The central government had ruled Guizhou indirectly via hereditary tribal leaders for centuries. It's the first time in history for a central government to station a large amount of troops there. Despite all that, the soldiers and their relatives settled down. In the military system of the Ming dynasty, soldiers provided their own food via military farms and rotated into military training as well as combat positions. So there were soldiers in combats, but in non-combating time, mostly just farmers. The Tianlong castle was evolved from one of the military farms that spread around Anshun, which in history was a major military base for Ming troops on that red line.
The houses here are made of stones for defense purpose. Remember, it was not a normal village. Everything is stone in this village. The houses are made of stones. The streets are paved with stones.
And even the roof of the house is made of stone slabs. Where were the stones from? They're all over the mountains in Guizhou province.
I once showed you the soil in this plateau, very loose and I can crush it easily. Here are rocks in Guizhou province. This is one of the earliest stone houses in the village. It might have 600 years of history. Now it's not allowed to go inside because it's very dangerous. I feel it might collapse any minute.
This house has a history of more than 400 years. There is one room behind each of those small windows, which were more like crannoes. Although it looks like a jail, it actually was a normal house in the village. The house bears many resemblance with the Hakka wood houses I visited in my earlier video. Both are formidable but uncomfortable. Both were due to the conflicts between newcomers and the local inhabitants. Farmland is scarce in Guizhou. This is the typical landscape of Guizhou. In between the hills, there are basins of various sizes. The Ming troops occupied many big basins and river valleys, which were good for farming. This, in some degree, irritated local people. In addition, tribal leaders sometimes instigated confrontation between local people and Ming troops because they didn't like central government to have troops in Guizhou. Gradually, the Ming soldiers made their villages into formidable castles. I didn't find the stone wall of this village. It might have been demolished, but many other similar villages have stone walls. Besides the main road, there are crisscross alleys in the village. When the wall of the village is breached, some villagers would climb up to the roof of the house to counter the invaders with weapons and stone slabs. It gives time for other villagers to retreat to safe and favorable spot via those small alleys and to prepare for counterattacks. As time passed by, hostility receded and the villagers enjoyed a more peaceful time. Houses with wooden structures emerged. Although the roof of this house has collapsed, from the remains we could tell it used to be a house of a wealthy family with central halls, several side rooms, kitchen, backyard, etc. For a very long time, villagers lived in an enclosed environment. Lack of exchange with local people incubated unique culture and customs in these villages. In some degree, Han Chinese culture in Yangtze River Delta has been preserved here. It's not only reflected in their dress, but also dialect and opera. In the village, there is an opera house. This kind of opera originated from the opera that was popular in Ming troops. The plots are about famous battles and military figures in Chinese history. There is also a temple in the village.
This is the temple of the village. Usually, a temple is related to Buddhism, but this temple is a combination of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. I know it's weird, but you'll find many temples like this in China.
Deities from all three religions are housed in the temple. It would be inconceivable in any temple or church in other countries. But Han Chinese have fairly imprecise religious concepts. We have no unified or clearly defined religious beliefs.
It's related to the pragmatism of Chinese people's attitude towards religion. Whatever works, the more the better.
In early 20th century, a school was built in the village.
Now we're entering the school of the village. The school is not related to garrison though. It was built in early 20th century. I guess this is the playground of the school.
The classrooms are in the courtyard behind this gate.
This is the school. Not bad, huh? There are two-storied buildings around the three sides of the courtyard, and there is even a stage in the center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 commencement of Tianlong School. There's even a stone library at the corner of the school. The school was built with money raised among villagers, so crowdfunding in early 20th century.
A modern school was built right outside the village, so this one was abandoned. This is pretty much the entire village. 2 hours is enough for a detailed tour. Although it's small, it's an epitome of the dozens of villages evolved from the military farms near Anshun. In my next video of this series, I'll go to an ancient town in Guizhou province, which in history was another major military base on this red line. The influx of the Ming troops brought business opportunities, and favorable location made this town a regional business center. Dozens of docks were built at the bank of the river that flows through the town. Guild halls were all over the town, as well as logistic security firms. I'm Yan Yan. I make videos about sites of interest in China and histories and stories behind them. Subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.